knowledge. And before we start this lecture, we should know what is feed. And this is very important. We know just maybe 2 animal nutrition PhD here, and most other people don't know much about this. The feed, we also can see food given to domestic animals in the course of animal husbandry. It is substance that can be eaten by animals and could provide with one or more nutrients. And these nutrients including the crude fiber, including the crude protein, vitamins, and like minerals. And that means that the feed it have been defined as a substance that can be injected, digested, absorbed, and used by animals. According to different animals, the feed could be divided into like the poultry feed, the pig feed, and if we feed the cattle, we also could see cattle feed and some agricultural feed. And recently, with the development of the pet, so the pet food is a new kind of feed in our country, and the pet feeds have attracted more interest because it have a relatively high profit for business. And we know the feed was composed of different feedstuff, and according to the international classification of the feedstuff, it can be classified into the rocket, the pasture range plants, and the forage fed fresh, and silage, animal feedstuff, protein feedstuff, and minerals, vitamins, and feed additives. And I will discuss every one. The first one was rocket. It means that they are bulky materials with a relatively high crude fiber. The crude fiber often higher than 18% in dry matter. And we know the rocket often have a relatively high water content. It means that often, but it's lower than 60%. It including the hay and the pasture. And this the rocket often used in the cattle, and maybe, and in last visited the company, and I have heard someone of your country, someone of you have seen the feed we use in China, like the cassava. In your country, maybe you also use it for food for humans. So maybe the rocket and like the pasture range plants and the forage fed fresh maybe also could use it for animal feed. This is a good and this feedstuff we also use in China because the competition of feed and animals, the situation was also occurred in China. And the second one was the pasture range plants and the forage fed fresh. It means like the green crops and the vegetables with high natural water content. And the third one was the silage. It refers to the feed materials that is not easily stored directly. And silage is commonly and most widely used in the cattle and the sheep. And the most difference from the rocket and the pasture range, it was fermented feed. And fermented anaerobically in silage faculty, either directly or with directly fermented with the microbiota or with addition of some feed additives. And in addition to the belong, here was the fourth one was the animal feedstuff. Animal feedstuff, we know animal was very important for the growth of humans, and of course for the animals. And the definition of animal feedstuff was, it means that the feedstuff with less than 18% crude fiber and 20% crude, and less than 18% crude fiber and 20% crude protein in absolute dry samples. The energy feedstuff is widely used in animal diets because we know energy was the most important nutrient requirement by animals, and in countries over the world, like the most used energy feedstuff was the cereal grains, such as the corn, the wheat, and of course some rice. But the rice was not eaten by animals, but by humans, and this part will be also eaten by the animals. And the second one was the cereal grain byproducts, such as the wheat bran and the rice bran. This have a relatively high level of crude fiber and non-starch polysaccharides. This is why we humans often not use this for food. And the third kind of the energy feedstuff was the roots and tubers, and this is very widely used in our country and of course in China. And the third one, energy feed, includes the oils and fats. Has anyone know the difference between the oils and the fats? The difference. Oils. Oil, yeah.
Liquid is
Yeah, liquid is oil, yeah, and the solid is fat. So the animal we often said is animal fat, and the liquid and the plant origin we often say the oil. But some animal was like the fish meal is different, is exceptional. The different characteristic will depend on its polysaccharides, unsaturated fatty acid content. Yeah. And in addition to the energy feedstuff, the protein feedstuff is also very important, and this one is actually locked in China. And the definition of the protein feedstuff we can see when dry contain less than 18% crude fiber and greater than or equal to 20% crude protein. So when we say it was protein feedstuff, it means that it has relatively high levels of crude protein, and we define it should below above 20%. And the protein feedstuff is also widely used not only by animals, but also we know in human food. Like the oil seed crops. But this oil seed crops we often use after extracting the oils, like the soybean meal and the rapeseed meal, and of course there are some cottonseed meal. This all we will widely use as protein feedstuff for animals. And there are some byproducts of animal productions, like the fish meal, the meat and bone meal. I don't know if you eat fish in your country. Fish?
Yes.
Yes. So much?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, okay. I know some country don't eat fish. Pardon? Soybean meal, yeah. Fish. I mean fish. I know some country don't like eat fish.
Domestic fish. Do you
No, we eat fish.
You fish.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
We are talking about feeding them.
So fish food is fish feed is also you produce in your country.
Yes.
Oh, okay, that's good. In addition to the oil seed crops and animal production, there are also some new protein feedstuff. This is because we lock the protein feed. Because in China, most of the like the soybean and the fish are eaten by humans, and so we lack enough protein feed. At this background, we try to develop some new feedstuff especially the protein feedstock, like the single cell protein. Have you know this? The single cell protein? Yeah. This is like the yeast. Yeah, this is widely used in animal diet. And after we have know the composition of the feedstuff, why we explore or why we lecture about this? Because the feed was very important in the feed industry. It's because the feed cost accounts for about 70% of the total cost in animal husbandry. So if we could, so the rise of the feedstuff may be also rise the price of the animal products like the feed, like the meats and milk and other. And among the feed, animal feedstuff and the protein feedstuff are the most important component of the feed. They account for approximately 95% of total feed. And when we see this, we can see this is the ingredient composition of the soybean meal, broiler experimental fats. Have anyone know this? Yeah. This is from this formula we can see the main ingredient of the feed was including the corn, the soybean, and the dried distilled grain with soluble and the poultry fat. So it means that the energy when we calculate this, it means that the energy comes from about 43%, and the protein accounts for about 42%. So this sum about 95% of the total feed, and the remaining are like the limestone, the calcium phosphates, and the salt and these minerals. Of course, there are also some feed additives. When we use feed additive when we do animal diet, we should first know what's the nutrient requirement of animals. This is the first thing we should do. We should know. We know the gross animal require the carbohydrate to provide the energy, and the protein or animal acid to provide amino acid, and like a lipid to the cell membrane, and other components of the of life, and like vitamins and minerals. This is all animal requirements. And if we want to make ideal feed, we should supply the feed with to meet the animal requirement to meet the nutrient requirement of animals. So we also should supply like the animal feed, protein feed, lipids, and vitamins and minerals. But we know there is a very important question is this animal feed stuff and the protein feed stuff is animal based or plant based. Have anyone know this? Yes. Animal or plants?
Plant.
Yeah, plant was more. Yeah, because the price is very important factor determine we choose. And we know most animal feed is plant-based, but plants do not naturally grow to consumed by humans. So as a result, many plant components of feedstuff have negatively affect the growth of livestock like the poultry and pigs. And this is why when we use the plant-based feed, the limiting factor including like the anti-nutrient factors, the low quality of the proteins, and also the mycotoxins. And according to the anti-nutrient factors, the first one is the most commonly used is the non-starchy polysaccharides. The non-starchy polysaccharides is widely what exists in plant-based like the wheat, rice, wheat bran, red bran. Does anyone know what the non-starchy polysaccharides is good or bad for animals? The non-starchy polysaccharide is good or bad for animals? Or humans?
For ruminants, okay.
For ruminants, it's okay, yeah. Yeah. From the perspective of the like animals like protein and pigs, we often take the non-starchy polysaccharides as benefit as bad for these animals. This is because the non-starchy polysaccharides, including the soluble non-starchy polysaccharides and the insoluble non-starchy polysaccharides, is digested by the host. Why it can be digested by the host? This is because, like the starch, this carbohydrate could be digested by the host enzymes. This is because the glucose monomers connected by the alpha-1,4 and alpha-1,6 glycosidic linkage. This glycosidic linkage could be digested by the amylose and amylopectin. And these two enzymes could be secreted by the host. So this determines why the starch could be digested by animals and of course our humans. But